Hi, Tubies. So, I recently was watching The Pagan Perspective, and the topic was labels. About, I guess, how you label yourself in the pagan community, or how different people label themselves, and I guess what their thoughts were on how some people that give themselves one label don't feel that someone who has the same label as them deserve that label. In this particular case, it was kind of British European Wiccans who were in covens and were initiated would sometimes, not always, but sometimes some of them would have issues and not feel that people who were solitaries or who were not initiated or were not in a coven were calling themselves Wiccan, and they just didn't feel that they deserved that they weren't that label. And the line that was said twice was a line I've heard many times, and I still love it, even though it's so cheesy. Labels are for soup cans. And that pretty much sums it up. It makes me kind of sad that things like labels still distress people. And they still distress me, which makes it even more sad. Because as you grow and you change as a person, the labels change. What you call yourself, what other people call yourself, they all change. And the biggest problem with labels is how you view a label might not be the way someone else views a label. So you could look at someone and say, since this was a pagan one, I could tell someone I'm a pagan. Now, if they're not pagan, they have no clue what that is to begin with. And then if they are pagan, they might view it differently than how I view it. Because just that word in and of itself, you have some people that view paganism as one thing and other people that view paganism as another thing. But the same thing goes for stereotypes, many times, I describe myself as a dirty hippie. Now, you say that to one person, they might view me as someone that just sits around and smokes pot and listens to Grateful Dead all day long. And there are dirty hippies that do that. You could tell that to another person, and they might think I, live in a commune. Another person might think I'm a vegetarian. It's all a matter of how someone views the label. And it's distressing. You have some people who try to change their personalities to fit into a label. You have other people, such as myself, who've been distressed by labels because I've never quite found a label that I felt suited me. I'd think I'd have one, and then I'd be like, no, that doesn't really suit me. Because it just didn't. And I don't think most labels fit even the people that give themselves labels, because humans are too complex. Everybody wants labels. When you're in high school, it's all stereotype labels. Oh, you're a freak, you're a goth, you're a jock, you're prep, you're this, you're that. As you get older, they change. You're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're a liberal, you're this, you're that, you're pro-life, you're pro-choice, you're this and that, and that doesn't make you who you are. That's just an aspect of yourself. That doesn't, it's like, I remember for a while I got very annoyed with reading people's profiles on, blogs and stuff, and the first thing they'd say is, no offense to gay people, I have many gay friends, but they'd say, I'm gay. That doesn't mean shit. That just tells me you like somebody of the same gender. That doesn't tell me anything about you. That doesn't mean anything. And that's a label. It's like me saying, hey, I'm straight. What does that tell anybody? Because just because you like straight people doesn't mean you're going to like me. So it's just a label. Stop trying to fit into them. And who cares if they don't fit you? The best label I've ever heard, and I'm a real big fan of this label, and I heard it from Joan Baez. I was watching a documentary about her a couple years back, and an interviewer came up to her and asked her, "What are you, Joan?" And her answer was, "First and foremost, I'm human." I think that's a pretty good label. If I'm going to have to choose a label for me, I'm human. I'm complex. I like lots of things. I have lots of opinions. I have lots of different views, and they don't fit into a box. Just because I like to eat oranges does not make me a citrus fruit. You know? What's the quote from Fight Club? Oh, just because you stick feathers up your butt does not make you a chicken? Yeah. Labels are the same way. Stop stressing about it. It's a word. It's a word. And words change meaning. Newest example. Oh my goodness. I recently was reading a book, and it talked about the origin of the word nice. And we all know what nice means, right? A nice person, friendly, they help you out. Words that go along with nice: helpful, generous, considerate, friendly, hospitable. Those are words that kind of go along with nice. Well, in this book, the woman had said what the old meanings of nice were. And thanks to my wonderful fiance, Teddy, he looked them up for me. Because I couldn't remember the exact words when I was retelling this to him. In Middle English, the word nice was the equivalent of foolish. In Anglo-French, the word nice meant simple or silly. And in Latin, the word nice is derived from a word that means not to know. Labels are just words. That's all they are. They change meaning, and people change. Stop trying to fit into a label. It's distressing and it's a waste of time. Stop letting other people's labels bother you, because if you're going to let what someone else calls themselves bother you, then you need to get a life. and stop letting other people's labels upon you bother you, because you don't know how they view that label. They might view it as a compliment, like the word nice. I was called nice the other day. Made me chuckle, because I know when I was called nice, it was not any of these meanings. It was not meant in any of these meanings that I have recently learned that nice used to mean. So, just a few thoughts on the subject. That's it. Have a wonderful night. I love you guys. Mwah! Blessed be.